Hello everyone, in this tutorial we're going to cover the new bulk email templates, which I think will help you a lot to speed up the emailing to get codes for your products. Along with, I'm going to try to show some of the other updates, even though I'll try to focus the video on that feature only. So a couple of global things. We know we have migrated to a new server, so you should see performance improvements. I think that's been a challenge, although we still have more work to do. So just keep that in mind. But it should kind of function quicker now. It should be, once you load the page, it's gonna kind of it will not try to load that data again. So it's kind of super quick. But let's go ahead and try to go through the process, right? You go to the RFQs, you find your RFQ based on searching. In this case, I have a specific RFQ in mind, and we do have to, I think, speed up this page as well. And we are, planning on adding more features such as status, or another really cool feature I think that's coming up is and I know Loocey's data, it doesn't go all the way back, and sometimes if you search for specific solicitations, they might not be in the system. But we are working on a feature where it'll allow you to import something else that's available in DIBBS but not in Loocey. Just because we don't want to import everything going back a couple of years, but I think Loocey's data is starting from July, I believe, 24. But we are gonna create that feature, so because we know that people love our one-click copy feature, and I think it's cool that if you could import, if you were bidding on some older opportunities, you should be able to import those once we have that feature ready. Okay, so let's go ahead and copy this to our board. You should know the process by now. You select it, and it's gonna copy a bunch of stuff and organize it in your CRM, so that you have all that data available in your business. And again, all the CRM features and the CRM data is specific to your company. This is shared data, right? The DIBBS related data. But once you copy the record over, now that the record goes to your system and it's only for your company to see. So now this is the record we just copied over. And if we open this up, we do have to speed up this page as well. I know it's taking a bit time to load this, but it's got a lot going on. So a couple important changes on top here. So we have added this asked versus quantity here. So asked is whatever is in the contract, and it's usually defined in the quantity of here, like you see there's 1 here, versus the actual quantity is basically the product quantity here. So if I make this 2, it should update the actual quantity for your products. And sometimes it's the opposite, right? They might ask for 100 units, but let's say you were only able to find 50, and you're only bidding for the 50 of them, so you were able to now kind of see in front of you what the difference is. So they should match for the most part, right? They should kind of match here. If they're asking for 1, they should give 1, and then here unit price, you can add the margin, right? And then it's gonna calculate the prices for you and show you the bid price, unit price, profit, and so on. One other latest feature is, I'll get back to it, but the profit is also going to be available in the bidding board now, so you can kind of quickly see it. A couple of other bug fixes. You should be able to now click on the NSN from inside the detail page and kind of load up this is the live data coming from the shared source. So if there's any changes, including in the history and so on, this is kind of the live data that's in the system. So you can kind of always have a one-click way to kind of open that up and see what's going on with this NSN, right? And then you have the history here. You have the approved source. Approved source bidding checkbox. This is a really important feature. I think you gotta pay more attention to this because, like in this case, this one is a good example because we have a bunch of approved sources for this NSN, and it does say approved sources bidding. We don't know which one yet, but if you look at the history, you can quickly tell, and like this is the guy that's bidding. But it doesn't mean you should avoid this, right? Because we have so many other ones, we could probably get codes from the other vendors and go against the other approved source, although it's a challenge, right? Usually I recommend to skip the RFQs that have that approved source is also bidding against you, because they usually get the best pricing, but it's not always the case. Like in this case, if you have so many other approved sources, I'm sure they can also compete on the price, right? Here's the cool feature. Okay, well, the whole video is about this. I know we're going off tangent here, but if you go on the supplier codes, you should now see is bidding. It'll also show you which one of these is actually bidding. But by the way, if you're new to the system, what happened here, when we copied the data over, it basically copied over all the data over. It copied all the approved sources, made them suppliers in our list, and put them here for you to request codes from, right? And then we'll try to go through an exercise of, I think one of the other videos also does it, as well as if you have your own vendor providing the same NSN, you can also add them here. I think I have demoed that in another video. But let's focus on the email templates, right? Now, this column is new, and if you don't see it, you should enable it. The way you do it is go into the configuration here, supplier codes. Make sure you go into the supplier codes tab here, okay? And under the columns, make sure you check on this bidding column. This way it'll show up, and then just save your view. So this way, because this is the view that's being used in the board, and if you make changes here, we should come up those changes in here as well, right? So let's go back to actually one more thing. Let me show you one since I'm here. As I was saying, now the profit also is on this page, so you can quickly see the bid price, unit price, and what's your profit, right? But let's go into the details and show you the new amazing feature, which I think is only partially done, and you'll kind of see what I mean in a second. So what I want to do, let's say you want to request codes from all of these suppliers, or a handful, it's up to you. In this case, I'm going to check all of them. Actually, yeah, I guess in this case, I'll show a couple of examples, but I'm going to check all of them. Under here menu, we have the new feature called bulk email sender. So if you click on this thing comes up. Now, as you can guess, this is going towards the automation route, right? Right now it's manual. See, the send button is disabled. But pretty soon, you're gonna be able to do one-click send and send all of your code requests to all of your suppliers in one click, right? So imagine how much time that's gonna save you. So, but let's kind of quickly go over what this template is. A dynamic template. It's actually custom built for this module here. So let's see what's in the template. So first of all, you can click on different companies that you selected. By the way, like in this case, it is showing who's bidding. Maybe in this case, you don't want to send an email to this guy that's bidding. Okay, so you can maybe check this off. But you can see quickly who's bidding on this, who's not bidding on this, right? That's important. The other thing is internal campaign name. This will come in the later, once we enable the send feature. This actually creates email marketing campaigns and sends the emails out. Now this email is actually the supplier email that came when you copied the data over. Okay, I'm gonna show you in a second how you can change it, how you can add more, and so on in a second. Okay. Now the subject line is really important. So it says code request for this NSN, gives you actual NSN. It gives the part number, so it's really important here, right? It gives the part number of the actual approved source, because each approved source might have a slightly different part number. So when you are requesting codes from them, you want to make sure you give a part number that's really their part number, right? You're not giving them a random part number that could be for another approved source. That's really important that when you email them, that besides the NSN, the part number has to match whatever their part number was for that NSN. Okay, so that's why this template, even though it looks simple, it's not so simple, because if you were to manually do this, it would mean you have to make sure you get the part number of the actual approved source. NSN is the same for all of them, and then quantity, it gets the quantity from the contract. It has the description. It has the actual manufacturer. In this case, see, it's matching our name. So when we are emailing this guy, this approved source, which usually also a manufacturer, but it's not always the case. Sometimes they're also distributor and so on. But we have, we have their name, we have their cage code, and see, it's matching with the person with the one or supplier you selected. Right? You're not sending them random names. That's why these are really important, that we spend a lot of time to make sure that we create something that's going to be super useful and targeted, right, when you send the code request. And the rest of it, by the way, this template eventually will be editable. By the way, you can also make changes here. There's a HTML editor kind of here. So, but yeah, now as you click on different ones, some of the details will change. Okay, based on whichever one that you selected. So what you do next? So far it's manual, I know, but hopefully it'll still save you a bunch of time. So if you click on copy here, okay, it's gonna copy the email. One second, let me open my email. Okay, and then you just paste it here. Okay, and then you do the same thing with the subject line here. Paste it in the subject line. So do the same thing for the email. Take it and paste it in the email to section, and you send out your email, right? And again, if you want to make other changes, you can, but you can see signature, you want to change it, you can, right? So this way, it's really targeted details for that specific supplier. We are planning on adding more stuff here, like your account number and so on, but it's coming later. Now, I'm not done yet. There's a couple other things I want to show you this for this one. I think it's so far we are targeting each approved source, right? But let's try something else. First of all, I'm gonna cancel this. Let's say I'm adding another supplier, and this time I found another supplier. I'm gonna call it my new, I don't have it here. Let's create a new supplier here for this NSN. I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna come to suppliers. I'm gonna say my new supplier. Okay, and I'm gonna open this supplier just to make things consistent. I'm gonna add that NSN for this supplier, right? And then this also NSN matching that matching the NSN here. And I'm not gonna check. See, the other ones will have approved source checked. In this case, this is not the approved source, but they could be the distributor, right? It means they're not the approved source. And sometimes the distributor is also bidding against you, so you could check this off. If you find out that, hey, they're bidding against me as well, you could check this off so that you know. Okay. Now I'm gonna go back to the board and go back to that record here. And what I'm gonna do, see, in this case, it's not the approved source, and we don't even know which of the exact approved sources they're working with, right? Because if they're not the approved source, it means they're getting the products from another approved source, because they have to be the same product, right? Now let's see what's gonna happen here. So far I just selected the other approved source, and I'm gonna do the same thing. Actually, this time I'm gonna uncheck this one, because I know they're bidding. I'm not gonna send email to them, right? It's also important. If they're bidding, don't even tell them about the RFQ, right? Because in a way you're informing them of the existence of the new contract, which they may not always be aware, right? They might not know. So it's important sometimes not to email, okay, the suppliers who are bidding against you. So it's really important. So now if I open up bulk email sender again, by the way, I gotta change something, I think here, email, yeah. I think the name, okay, but that's besides the point. I'll fix it in a second. So this why is the name not showing up though? Let me try let me refresh this page real quick. Maybe it's a bug, I don't know, possible. We're still in beta, guys, so please be patient. I know we're adding tons of features, but I'm sure there's gonna be some bugs here and there. So let's see if this fixed it. Okay, good. I guess when you add a new one, yeah, it doesn't recognize it automatically. So anyway, so let's see the template that created this time. Because they're not the approved source, okay, the system knew about it, that they're not approved source. This time the template is a little different. We do have to specify the quantity and so on. That's, I think, in that I think we have to put the quantity. It's because we didn't fill up the rest of the details here. By the way, this NSN column, guys, I think it's not needed. In fact, I think the new templates don't have it, and you could probably delete this because we have the NSN here. In this case, I don't think well, I guess I gotta enable delete for this, but we're probably gonna get rid of it. It's redundancy. But this again, the quantity is important because sometimes if you call them, they have like, I don't know, 5 of them, and the contract is 100. You know, so you could change that right from here before you send the emails. That's why it's taking it from whatever number you gave it. By default, it is whatever it's in the contract. Okay, so in this case, it's gonna fill in the other details. So good. So in this case, what it did, instead of specifying a specific approved source, it actually listed all of them. Okay, and we are telling this new supplier, and again, if you want to take out some, it's just, we can delete, right? But the default template recognizes that they're not the approved source, so it's gonna list all the approved sources along with their cage code and their part number and so on. By the way, I think we gotta fix the part number. It's not pulling in the correct one, but anyway, we'll fix that. But the point being is that this time, because they're not an approved source, we want to list out all of the approved sources and tell this new supplier, hey, we know that you have this NSN, and I'm guessing you emailing this new supplier is because you have called them or you somehow know that they have this part in their stock, yeah. But you do want to make sure that you specify in your quote request, hey, these are the manufacturers, these are the approved sources that's listed on my contract. And so the product that you provide has to probably be from one of these, right? Because eventually you might ask for authorization letter if they're a distributor, and the authorization letter usually will come from the manufacturer, which should be one of these items, right? So in a way, this also creates a track record for you in the email chain. If they send you something, authorization and so on, you can quickly see if they're from the approved source and so on, right? So, but that's kind of this distinction. In these other cases, we are directly specifying their own cage code, their own manufacturer name, because we are sending the quote request to the approved source, right? In this other case, since they're not the approved source, and we don't necessarily know, if you know which one they have, that's fine, you can delete the rest of it, but in this case we're assuming we don't know which one they have exactly, so we're just gonna list to be safe. on our side, we're gonna list and say, hey, these are the approved sources and manufacturers that we want this product from, right? And the last thing I want to mention is the emails part. So emails, and even though our research team does a good job, I think, researching and finding the emails, sometimes they change, sometimes things change, so the emails change. So it's not, it could be not 100%. So the way you fix that is couple things. First of all, if you know a contact, in this case we don't have contacts, but we could create contacts. But let's go to, for example, this supplier. What is this supplier? Like this guy here. Okay, we go to supplier here, and say, hey, the email may be changed to now, I don't know, added some to number, right? And also, I'm gonna open this up and say, you know, when you call them, maybe you spoke with someone, you spoke with, you know, John, let's say you spoke with John Smith, right? And then the email was John at whatever companyname.com. Okay, so now what's gonna happen is that, let's see, go back to it. So first of all, it should get us the updated email, but also if we add John to the quote request, okay, let's say I want to add John to this quote request. Now when I select my quotes, go back to this one here, first of all, see our email updated here, and also it added John. Okay, so in this case, it's really up to you if you want to send the email to both of them or only send it to John or vice versa. But because it knows that, hey, you added a contact to this specific quote request, we're gonna show you the contact's email here, so you can, when you're sending the email, you can do copy paste and quickly send over. Okay guys, that's pretty much it for this video. And oh, one last thing on the subject line here, I think it's also important. This number that it adds, it's actually not a random number. This number is the internal quote number. Okay, so if you go back to the board, there's a auto-generated quote ID that only you see, and if the somehow contract numbers change, or if the duplicate contract numbers and so on, this will always be unique. So when you're sending the email, it also puts that in the subject line, so you can always go back and find your quote ID using that ID in the email. Okay, that's it guys, thanks for watching. Keep an eye on the YouTube channel, there's a lot more videos coming up. As hint that we're making a label maker, it's coming soon, so keep an eye on the videos on YouTube. Thanks for watching.